Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Alright, there we go. How's everyone today? Hope everybody's doing really, really well here today. Pretty good, hey! I'm happy to hear that. It's a nice fresh morning and a nice fresh day. So, yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're feeling pretty good here today. Hopefully by the end of here today, we'll, hopefully feel even more better. Is that a thing? Anyway, uh, all right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we're about to get started here in just like a minute or so. All right, so we'll have more people, of course, start coming in here for this lecture. Is there another? Unfortunately, no. They just kind of like that's kind of built into Twitch there. So yeah, it's like 30 seconds and stuff. Um. Okay. How am I doing today? I am doing absolutely fantastic. It has been a very it has been a very let's put it this way, a very very eventful day. There's a lot going on here today, a lot to package into small bite-sized bits here. But yeah, so far so bueno is kind of what I'm working with here. All right. Yeah, so it's 9:30. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here for today. Welcome back to Thursday, end of the week time today. So last time we went over the syllabus. We talked about what was going to be entailed in the class. We didn't get to section 1.1 last time, but that's what we're going to be doing here today. Is getting right into the material. So we're going to do 1.1, 1.2, and maybe 1.3, and maybe 1.4. I don't know how far we'll get in an hour and 15 minutes, but we're going to try our best. And I'm going to have to, rely. I'm going to rely on you guys to answer some questions for me. If I ask you a question, then you can just type out that answer in the chat. All right. Before we go ahead and get started, though, I do have one question for you guys. Are there any questions from last time? Um, it is math class, Jessica. Yeah. um, are there any questions from last time that you guys have? Again, if you don't have any questions, just type no in the chat. Uh, Otherwise, yeah, just type no in the chat or just ask your question in the chat. No? Okay. That's perfectly fine. No problem. Okay. Well, oh, oh, he says. I like that. What did the $114 entail? The e-text, and is that it? Yeah, you get the e-text and the access code for MyMathLab. So, yeah, that's all you need for the online stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here with section 1.1. We're just going to read and write whole numbers. All right, fairly simple there, hopefully. All right, cool. All right, so let's take a good look here. This is from the handout on D2L. So just as a friendly reminder here, let me go to D2L here for just a solitary moment. That's not D2L. I need to get to. So to find this handout that I'm using here, if you go to our D2L page, you know, I don't like when it does things like that. Sadness. All right. Come on. Less sadness, more gladness. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right. So if you navigate to our D2L page, click on our class here. If you go to content and you go down to course documents and resources, you can click on that, and then this document here, this PDF document, Math 90 Notes 2018 All Revised, click on that and you will find the same handout that I have up here on the screen. Okay, so you'll have again the same exact thing that you have up here on the screen. So if you'd like to navigate to that, that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with that. Okay, now that we have that, let's go ahead and start here. So we're going to write numbers again. As you can see here, each one of these numbers, when we write out any number, is going to have a respective digit associated with it. So again, 3 is the ones digit, 8 tens, 4 hundreds, 5 is in the thousands, so that's why we say 5,000. Like if I ignored the 7 and the 2 here, let's just say I just wanted to focus on this part, I would say 5,483. Again 5,480 and 3. All right. Now let's take a good look here. How about 7? What would 7 be according to this number here? What place value would 7 be according to what we see up here? Hundred thousands. That's correct. That's right. So 7 here is indeed 100,000. So we would start saying this number here with 700,000. All right. Now, I want to make a couple of points here that will be very important, okay? So that way, if you, I know that math can be a little tough, but keeping yourself organized is going to be really important here, even in a class like this. And you're like sometimes saying, well, if you read certain numbers, whether that be on, on a news article or whatever, sometimes you just want to be able to sound that out in your head or at least speak it out loud. Well, one of the things that you can see here, according to our little example here, is notice where the comma is. Now, how do commas work here when it comes to writing out numbers? So let's talk about that. So actually, I'll make that a bit bigger so you guys can see that a little bit easier. There we go. All right. Okay, so one of the most important things is if you want to keep yourself organized, okay, so this is one of the key points here. Keep organized when it comes to numbers. Now, some people are very comfortable with having no commas, and I'm cool with that. That's not a problem. But if you do want to write out commas because it helps you keep more organized in terms of reading a number out loud or whatever the case may be, all right, the important part here is starting from not the left, starting from the right. Okay, starting from the right of the number. All right. Uh, put a comma after each batch of 3 numbers. Okay, so starting from the right, you're going to go ahead and put a comma after a batch of 3 numbers. So let's say I had this as my number. Okay, so I'm just going to write down some random number, and then in the chat, I would like you to go ahead and put the commas in that place so that way you get kind of comfortable with the idea. So I'm just going to write down random number time. All right, so this is my random number. All right, so in the chat, how would you write this number here with commas. Okay, so 65 million. So we got that. Okay. All right. So let's start from the right. Okay. Good, good, good. Everybody's doing really good. That's really, really good. Nice, nice. Cool, cool. Okay. So all of you got it correct. So starting from the right-hand side, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Put a comma there. 1, 2. We got 1, 2, 3. Gonna put a comma right there. So all of you are correct. Very nice. All right. Now the next question is here is how would we read this number? All right. So that's kind of like the key thing here is that when it comes to some things, we want to be able to sound that out, out loud. Sometimes when you sound out a number out loud, it's just easier to get a grander scope of things. All right. So based on this number here and our little chart, okay, that we have here, how would we say this number in words? How would we say this number in words? All right, nice. Erickson, I like how you put dollars right after that. I want that money too. I mean, that's some flash in the cash there. All right. Well, I agree. All right. So, um, that is absolutely correct. All right. So let's go ahead and write it out in words. This is first of all, six is in the tens of millions. Again, 65 million. You don't have to write the dashes. I just write that for myself. Oh no, that's no, that's cool. That's cool. That's okay, Yvonne. That's not a problem. I mean, we all wish we had $65 million. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure nobody's going to disagree with that. So, um, so 65 million. That's right. All right. And then we have 300, uh, 378, 78,000. Again, that eight set 378 being the number, and then eight being in the thousands place, and then 524. Okay, so by and large, I think you guys did a pretty good job with that. Okay, it's not too bad. Again, like I said though, one of the biggest keys is just keeping yourself organized. That's the toughest part about math is that sometimes the numbers are kind of just like all over the place, and we just want to be able to consolidate that into something easier that we can understand. So to reduce the amount of anxiety per problem that we actually have to look at here, let's just try and make things as easy as possible. A question in the exam, is it important to put the comma? For the exam, probably not. Again, it's for your purposes only to do the actual calculation. So one of the things I'll ask you to do is to do some of the exam problems by hand as well as on the computer there. So you'll turn in like your work for that problem. So if you feel that that's if you feel that it's helpful for you to organize the numbers there because you have an easier time of just kind of sectioning off the numbers the way you want, then great. That's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to be comfortable in a system that you know you can work with rather consistently. So even though this seems like a very small point, it is kind of like I want to kind of set you guys up for like saying, oh, all right, this system, situation kind of works for me. I'm going to do it this way, and as long as it's consistent, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, organization. I'm just trying to teach you tips and tricks here to keep it as simple as possible. So um, and that's I guess that's the answer to my question, to your question there. So all right. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here at a couple of other guys. All right, so let's look at this one here. So I'm just going to write this number out. This is on page what page is this on? Should probably page 4 of your handout there. All right. Okay, so here's our number here. Now let's identify what spot each of these numbers that I'm going to highlight are. Let's first start off with 2. What spot is this 2 in? So like, is it a 10 spot, 100 spot, that sort of deal. 10 million, 100 million. Okay, so I got a couple answers. 100,000. Okay, so I got a few different answers here. Anybody else? Go on and chime in. Okay. So let's take 100,000s, okay? All right, so let's take a good look here at this one. Remember, when we look at each of these numbers here, okay, when we look at each of these numbers here, I'm going to scroll back up to the top here, okay, oh, actually up here. Notice that we start from the right, okay, so the big key thing is that we start from the right, and that's how we identify where those numbers are located. So again, we have 8 in the 1 spot, 2 in the 10 spot, 3 in the 100 spot. 9 would be the thousands. 10,000s. Now, for those of you who said 100,000s, that was close. 100,000s would be right here. Again, not starting from the left, but starting from the right. And then we keep going up million, 10 million, and then finally, this first 2 that we see here would indeed be, the answer here would be the 100 million spot. So the first 2 be the 100 million. Okay. So maybe you're kind of used to saying, "Oh, I always start from the left because that's how I read it," and that's true. That's how you read the number, all right. But if we need to identify where that digit is located, well, start from the right actually, and then work your way left. I know that seems a little counterintuitive, but that's the way we want to read each number here. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Yeah. Look, I'm happy. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm really happy that if you guys type out a wrong answer, don't feel ashamed. That's actually good for me because I want to clarify as many misconceptions as that you may have had, like, bad habits and things like that. We want to remove those as much as possible because, again, math is very it's not flexible. So we want to, anytime, we have, you're like, I'm not so sure, that's fine. We're here to learn. Okay, I'm not here to denigrate you and be like, oh, you suck. You can tell me I suck, but I won't do the same. So we'll kind of run with that. So yeah. All right. Let's uh let's look at another one here. How about the one more here? How about that first three, the very first three that we see here? What spot would that first three be in? Question mark. Billion. Yes, that is correct. Very good. That would be 3 billion something something something. Okay. Very nice. Nice job. Okay. All right. Any questions about reading off numbers or organizing numbers? Again, this is a short section, but again, it does highlight some of the things that we'll be focusing on here for the semester, such as, again, organization and just getting us into that correct mindset. So those are, rather important. But we'll maybe do a couple more examples here, and just actually we'll do this example here. So actually, let's go ahead and do a couple more examples on some of the homework here. You may ask to rewrite a number based on from words to a number. So let's look at that first one there. So it says 1,437. So in numbers, how would you write that out? 1,437. All right. Cool beans. All right. Let's you guys are off quick on the draw here. Good, good. How about how about 5,306,008? How would you write that as a number? Oh, well, it'd be helpful if you could see it. Sorry about that, everybody. No, sorry about that, Mubby. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Much better, I'm sure. Sorry about that. Okay, Maricela put that. Okay, see what other answers we get. Okay, Yvonne put there. Okay, very good. Nicely done. So we have 5 million. So again, if you need to, just write 5 million 306,008,008. You can put your commas right there, and you should be spot on there. All right, I see a few eights there. Yeah, you got to look at the problem instead of copying the one before you. Okay. All right, so there is that. Okay. So we have this here. All right, so that pretty much is the end of section 1-1. Just to kind of highlight a few things. There's not a whole lot in that section. Again, it's just a matter of just going over the basics there. No problemo. All right. Any more questions from section 1-1? Any more questions? Again, just type no in the chat if you'd like me to move on. Nope. Nope, that's dope. All right. All right. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and move on here to section 1.2, and let's take a look on our first dive into doing some math. We're going to be talking about adding whole numbers. All right. All right. So there are a few ways to certainly add whole numbers. I know you probably have done this before and things like that, and that's all well and good. And but I'm going to take a slightly different approach to this. Okay, so this is going to seem a little strange. I know maybe you've learned it one way, learned it a different way, whatever the case may be. But we're going to look at some properties of addition that will be pretty relevant for what we'll be doing later. And probably one of the most important things in terms of adding two numbers is that let's talk about that. Let's talk about one of the keys here. What's the key to adding whole numbers? Okay. Now I'm going to make it as cut and dry as possible here. The key here is memorization. All right, so memorization here is going to be a certain key here. Now I know people sometimes use their fingers, all right, use the toes, whatever the case may be, but memorization is going to be fairly important. Now you're probably saying, well, why memorization? That requires a bit of work. And the reason is because again, if you're sometimes thinking on the fly, you want to be able to do those quick calculations in your head without having to necessarily resort to the calculator over and over and over again. I mean, it's okay to resort to the calculator at times, yeah, certainly. But if you're just doing like some really quick math, maybe you're in the middle of a conversation and stuff, you know, um, uh, yeah, you just do some quick math in your head and you're just like, okay, no, it's 7 or whatever. So memorization is definitely going to be key. And of course, being this type of math class, we're going to use, of course, addition over and over and over again, as you probably are already familiar with. Now, yes. Now, one thing that addition talks about is, let's talk about key number 2 here. So there's going to be key 2. So addition follows the commutative property. Okay, so addition follows the commutative property. All right, so let's talk about what is the commutative property here? What exactly is that guy? All right, so the commutative property is really, really easy, like super, super easy to kind of get along with. So the commutative property is basically says if I took A plus B, just added like two random numbers together. I don't care what two numbers they are. They could be, kind of whatever. then that is the same thing as b plus a. So I can flip those two numbers around and I'll still get the same result regardless of what I do. All right. Again, it's called the commutative property because, as you can imagine here, like a commute means to move from one place to another. That's exactly what you're doing here in this case, hence why the name commutative property. Okay, so if I were to use numbers here, just a quick example here, you know, um, 1 plus 1 plus 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 1. Okay, so no difference, right? You get 3 here on both sides. All right, you get the same result regardless of that fact. Okay, so um, that's what we call the commutative property. Now, addition here, again, if one of the other keys here for addition or any other operator is, again, I understand that some of this could be, excuse me, be pretty easy. But what if you had a, say, let's take a look down here. What if you had, let's say, a column of numbers? Okay, let's say you had a column of numbers, and you said, all right, I got a column of numbers here. This is page 9. I have a column of numbers here, and I'm going to want to add up these column of numbers here. Basically how to put that all together. Well, how do I go ahead and do that? Well, the one thing that I would want to talk about here, and so I guess this will be kind of key 3 here that I'll probably stress over and over and again. So just go slow. Go slow if you need to. So just go slow. There's okay. Math doesn't need to be a race. All right. I want you to go at a pace that you're comfortable with. All right. That's really important. If you don't get the answer right away, that's not a big deal. But just go slow if you need to, or again, one step at a time. I could also put that, one step at a time. I sometimes I'll do that quite often. I do that quite often. I go one step at a time because that's how I learn. All right, that's how I learned from way back when. It's like the only way I got better was I just went, okay, do this first, and then do this a second, and then do this third, and then keep going forward. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta get that. If I'm gonna understand everything, I need to kind of work my way up just a little bit, by a little bit. It wasn't like I said, math didn't come to me naturally. It was a kind of a slow build for me to start understanding it. So, what exactly do I mean by kind of that slow build? Let's take a look here at this example we see here on this page, and I'll just go with again. Let's go with this example here. So we have 3 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6. Now again, by itself, you could plug that into a calculator and whatnot, and you'll easily get an answer. But again, what's the purpose of this problem here? The purpose is not to plug and chug into a calculator. The purpose is you got to show me how you arrive at that result. And going step by step is going to be very important. Okay, so if we go step by step, if we just go slow, okay, nothing too fancy, just nice and simple and easy. All right, let's just go down the line here. So all I'm going to focus on here is I say, all right, maybe you're comfortable with just doing 2 numbers at a time. And I would be like, sure, that makes perfect sense to me. So let's just look at 3 plus 8. So what is 3 plus 8? Okay, so 11 is correct. So I'm just going to look at these two guys, right? Yeah, all of you, right? 11. All right, so I'm just going to look at these two guys. These two guys here, you would agree, is 11. All right, and now we're just going to add in everything else that's part of the problem. Be like, okay, fine, that's fine. All right, no problem. So now we have 11 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6. Now I just look at the next two numbers here. I say, all right, what's 11 plus 5? Okay, 16 is correct. Oh, that's okay. I know you meant 16. So 16. So we just took care of these two numbers here. So now we'll put plus 4 plus 6. Okay, just like so. Now we'll take 16 plus 4. That'll be our next two numbers there. So what is 16 plus 4 there? So that is indeed 20. Totally agree. And then finally we have the last two numbers there. We have 20 plus 6. Okay, very good. So the answer here is 26. Nice. All right, so we just took it one step at a time, to get to our final answer of 26. Is it a long process? Sure. But at least you took it one step at a time, slowly but surely. It, it doesn't have to be very overwhelming if you can break it down into kind of small little pieces and you could just kind of go slow. This is, like I said, this is how I learned when I was learning this material way back when I was struggling with math. I went to this system of just going slow and going one step at a time, and then I began to realize, wow, that's a lot easier when I can kind of think one at a time rather than thinking, oh, let's just scramble up all the numbers all at once and hope that I get the right answer. So, um, kind of wishing and praying is good until it isn't, and most of the time it isn't. So, all right. So, I wanted to showcase at least that kind of problem there to say, hey, there is a way you can certainly look at this problem here. Hey, just go at a pace that you can easily digest. Okay, let's have you guys actually. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Um, let's have you guys work with this. All right. So there's a couple of numbers here that can certainly be a thing. So let's look at a couple of other guys. So let's look at this here. I wonder if I should make that up. Yeah, why not? All right. I'll just move that over. There we go. All right. So let's look at this here. 78 plus 39. We'll talk about this type of problem here. All right. Now by itself, 78 plus 39, we want to be able to solve for something like that. In the last problem here, we had some simple numbers that we could kind of slowly put together, and we finally got our result here of 26. Now, uh, what if the numbers here are slightly a bit bigger? How do we handle something like that? How do we, go about that slowly in order to acquire the answer that we are looking for? Okay, so what we want to do here is, as you can see here, we want to try what's called regrouping. Now, regrouping here in this particular case, let's at least discuss about that, is not not terribly difficult, but regrouping is basically kind of carrying over the tens digit to the next column to the left. Okay. So carrying over the tens digit to the next column to the left if the sum of the previous column is 10 or bigger. All right. So you're probably saying, whoa, 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 time out, time out. You have to, stop the train. Okay. What are you speaking about? What is this nonsensory tomfoolery? All right. I don't know what you're talking about, and you're talking nonsense. I'm like, okay, that's um, uh, that's kind of fair. So, Okay, so here in this case, if we're going to do regrouping here, the first thing we're going to do is let's talk about some of the important notes here regarding regrouping. Actually, let me bring this down here so it's easier to read for you guys. There we go. All right. So one of the big keys here, so the key for regrouping, is that you always start from the right. Okay, so you're not starting on the left, you're starting on the right. Okay, so we're going to start here at 8 plus 9. All right, so we're just going to add 8 plus 9 here. All right, and what is 8 plus 9 here? Okay, now that's cool. Hey, hey, no. Don't feel like it's your bad. Hey, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We're here to learn. So, like I said, I ain't gonna criticize in a subject that's already hard enough as it is. Okay, so all of you said 17, which is correct. So this is kind of like where that memorization comes into play. Once you know, you can kind of know those sums kind of by heart here. It'll be very helpful to do some of these by hand. Now, 8 plus 9 is 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that ones digit of 7. We're going to put it right there. Maybe not like that. Put a 7 here. Maybe not like that either. Okay, but remember what it says here. We're going to carry over the tens digit to the next column to the left. So we said it was 17, so we're going to carry this ones digit over to where this 7 is. So I'll just highlight that carry over here by putting a 1 here in parentheses. Kind of like a carryover there. I know it's not the greatest thing in the whole wide world. Let me see if I can get this to move right. Well, I could just, oh, there we go. I can do that. So I'll put a 1 here. All right, and that's kind of carrying the 1 from the 17. Okay, so I'll put that in parentheses there right above the 7. And then we just go ahead and add up 1 plus 7 plus 3. That's okay. So let me put that down. Okay, so or you can stick around for the next class because the next class is going to be this same class. So yeah, got a lot of options here if you missed a little part there. So no worries, Yvonne. Okay. Yeah, I just want to see you taken care of. That's all. It's all good. All right, so we have 1 plus 7 plus 3, which is 11. And so we're just going to put 11 here. And that's going to be our answer, 117. That's correct, Alyssa. Are there any questions about that before we move forward? We'll do another example, of course, but just want to be sure that that part made sense. No? Okay. All right. Let's go here. All right, next. Let's try another problem here. Let me go ahead and make up another one. Let's try 3537. Try that. And then put that plus 8499. All right. Okay, so I want you to give this a try here. All right, so on a sheet of paper, whatever, go ahead and give this problem a try. And then once you got that answer, go ahead. You could type that in the chat, and we'll go over it together. So I'll give you like a couple minutes or so, and let's see if you guys can come up with the answer for this. Okay. Now don't forget here, remember, putting in a calculator is simple, but don't forget, you're going to have to show me how you get to that answer. So I agree with that answer there. So if you did it just with the calculator, just remember that won't be good enough. You got to make sure you got that process down. That way, again, you can show me how you get your answer there of 12,036, which I agree is the correct answer here. Okay, so that's going to be important there. All right. Well, let's go ahead and see how that's going to work out. So we have 7 plus 9, which is indeed 16. And so since that is 16, we're going to carry that 1 over. We have 1 plus 3 plus 9. So 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 9 is 13. So we have 13 there. So we're going to carry another 1 over to the very next column to the left, just like so. Pardon me. So we have 1 plus 5 plus 4. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So we have 10 here. So we're going to carry one more 1 here to the left. And so finally, we have 1 plus 3, which is 4, plus 8, which is indeed 12. So 100% correct here. 12,036, our final answer. Okay, so we certainly have that ready to go. All right, nice work. Are there any questions about that problem there? No? Okay. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here and talk about a few more things with addition that are important. Okay, so a few of the things that we're going to be using, of course, a lot of these concepts on is going to revolve entirely around applications. Now, I know you're not a huge fan of applications. All right, I know nobody is not like the biggest fan, but remember the important part here about mathematics is that we have to find practical uses for it. Okay, practicality is very, very important. All right, so that's essentially what we want at the end of the day, is to have as much practicality as possible. So, in applying our concepts. So let's take a good look here at this is page 13. I want you to take a good look here at this little picture here. So this is a map of an amusement park in Florida, and talks about the distances between, looks like, these cities. Um, so let's take a good look here at, say, A. Use the map to find the shortest route from Lake Buena Vista to Conway. So Lake Buena Vista is right here. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger so it's easier to see. There we go. Okay, so Lake Buena Vista is right here, and Conway is right here. We want to find the shortest route to go from here to here. And then we also want to determine how many miles that's going to be. So just looking at the picture there, how many miles is the shortest route between Lake Buena Vista and Conway? What do you think that's going to be there? Well, taking a look at the picture there, what numbers should we add up together? 15. We get 15 here. Okay. 15 miles. Let's see that. That's pretty close. 19. Okay. Good, good. All right. So the correct answer here is 19. Okay, so let's talk about this here. Let's go over this in a little bit of detail. 26. 26. Well, I can see where you got that from. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I saw where you got that from. Yeah, you accidentally added this extra 7. Extra 7 would go to Shadow Hills and not Conway. So you added one too many there. So just be a little careful about that. Okay, so let's take a good look here at this problem and let's answer some of your questions here. All of you came up with really good answers, so I'm glad we can acknowledge this type of question here because it'll be important for what we want to do. Okay, so to answer applications type questions here, let's discuss this. All right, so for this particular example, we want to be able to, of course, go from Lake Buena Vista to Conway. And the shortest route here is adding up these distances that we see here on the map. So we have 4 and 6 and 3 and 6. So we're going to add those two together. We're going to add those together. 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 6. Okay. Now if we add those together, again 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. And 13 plus 6 is going to be 19. Okay, so 19 miles here is going to be the shortest way. We can try and look at another way, but that's going to be much, much further. Again, 9 miles to Orlando, all the way down here, another 11 miles. Yeah, it's kind of a more circuitous route to finally get to Conway here. Now, I want to stress a couple things here. All right, I want to stress a couple things here, and I'm glad you guys came up with different answers because a couple things regarding applications that are going to be very important and about how we look at, say, critical thinking concepts when it comes to applications. All right, so for me, applications here are broken down into two parts. Okay, every application question is broken down into two parts. The first the first cut into application type problems is always going to be about interpretation. So interpretation here, basically you have to read the problem and you have to be able to interpret it properly. All right, and just writing out the numbers that we see up here on the screen, 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 6. Okay, that told us what the shortest route was from Lake Buena Vista to Conway. Now, the interpretation part of all application problems is 90% of the problem. Here's the reason why. Because if you don't interpret the problem correctly, then you will get it wrong 100% of the time. And that's nowhere. Then at that point you're just guessing, and then that's pretty bad. So you obviously don't want to be in that situation where you're just kind of flailing your arms, just say, "Oh, what the heck." Oh my gosh, I'm just have to guess. You throw your hands up in the air, you're like, oh, and you're like, boo. So, you know, things like that are, things like that, it just can be very, very frustrating. All right. But once you do interpret it correctly, then you can go ahead and do the calculation. So the calculation is the last 10%. All right, that's like, manipulating the numbers and trying to get what you want. So most of the time, for what we're going to be doing here for application type problems for in this class, is we're going to mainly look at the interpretation part, like how do we set up our numbers. And then once we set up our numbers, whatever they may be, then we'll actually do the calculation with that, and then we can run from there. So that is kind of like the goal here for this class, in terms of, say, how do I look at a critical thinking problem, any kind of critical thinking problem. It could be, you know basically balancing out your bank account, or whatever the case may be, figuring out how much you have in bills every month, or whatever. That in itself is an application type problem. And say, all right, I have X amount of bills every month, so I know how to budget myself, and this is how much I'm getting, and then this is how much I'm spending. So, how do you save money? You want to maybe set some money aside, or say, okay, these are my bills, this is how much I have to make per hour or make per month, whatever the case may be. Okay. Those things do factor into a daily setting of some sort. So I would say that there's definitely some realistic value to that. Um, okay, so that's how we're going to basically attack every single application problem in this class, is just kind of reading the problem over, interpreting it, and then finally doing the calculation is kind of like the last little bit. All right, so let's look at another application problem here, and sometimes we may need a few more tools in order for us to get to a better point here. So let's look at this next example here on this next page. Okay, it says, find the number of feet of fencing needed to enclose the Frisbee Disc Golf Park shown. So here's the Frisbee Disc Golf Park. Okay, now this fencing here that you see is called the perimeter. Okay, so let's go ahead and at least define that. You guys probably have heard the word perimeter before, but let's make that a bit bigger. So let's talk about perimeter here. Again, it's another type of application, but perimeter here is just super fancy. It's just basically, you just basically add up all the outside lengths of a shape. Okay, in this case it's a rectangle. What level of problems are these? Um, I'm not sure what level of problems you would. I'm a I'm a little. This would be like pre-algebra, if that's what you're talking about there. Uh, I would say that'd be school level, but you know what? I'm gonna say that'd be school level, but at the same time, it just depends on the person, because you could still struggle with the concept like this. So, I mean, for me to sit here and say, "Oh man, this is super easy for me," to me that's a little disrespectful to you guys in that regard. So, and I don't want to sound disrespectful in that regard. For some people, this math is their hardest subject, and so I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, this is no problem, you can do all this stuff. No, I want to give you the tools and tips in order to be successful in a subject that's already pretty tough. So for person to person, it's I can say it's pretty interpretive. But my goal is to hopefully make it a lot easier. So hopefully we can downgrade it from super hard to uh, a bit easier, or maybe easy, or hopefully even super easy if I'm lucky. So, but I'm looking at the realistic side of things. Okay. That's fine. If it's easy for you, that's great. I'm plenty happy with that. Hmm. Is this just a review? No, this would be new material. At least the perimeter and stuff. This is also review for those people who haven't seen it in a while. So, I have a full expectation that all of you have seen this at least once in your life in some form or fashion. But as Yvonne said, maybe it's been a few years, or maybe you just kind of forgot about stuff because that's natural. People forget about stuff that they learned in school, even last year. So, like I said, it kind of hopefully shakes out all those. Shakes out the cobwebs in your head there and be like, all right, yeah, I remember now. This is what I got to do for this and whatnot. So although the beginning here may look easy, okay, which is fine. The beginning here may look easy. That's okay. Yeah. Are we gonna do equations? Yes. Later on, we're gonna definitely do equations. Absolutely, 100%. Totally, totally yes. We're gonna do equations. Rest assured, I definitely plan on doing those. So you'll see that later on in the course. So I know right now it's going to be kind of like a slow, kind of slow, methodical pace here, kind of getting some of that review stuff, kind of getting back into your head, getting into the swing of things, and then we'll start slowly ramping stuff up into doing more advanced things after that. When does the sections have to be done? Those sections are due the day of the chapter one test. So obviously I haven't even announced the chapter one test yet, as it's only the first week of class. But all of chapter one's homework will be due when I announce the chapter one test. So I'll make that, of course, very plainly aware, like a week before I actually post the test on my math lab. So you'll have a set due date then. Are there any other questions before I move forward? Wait, I'm an actual teacher? Yes, 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 I am. Hey, it's an actual class. I mean, hey, you know, it's things. Let me tell you. Hey, I know. Even I'm surprised. This is all in my math lab. Yes, that is correct. You can go to my math lab and be like, you could go to my math lab and start on that homework as soon as possible. If you want to keep pace, then you can do sections 1-1 and 1-2 today, for example, and then that's cool. Yeah, so what you do on my math lab there is, trust me, I'm not going to whoop you for cell phones. Uh, yeah, so what you're going to do on my math lab is you could do the homework on there and then hit the save key, and then it'll save your progress for the things that you got right. Again, my suggestion is for you to go ahead and just take your own pace, take your own time for each of the homework assignments. Keep pace with the class, so you're not falling behind. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like overwhelming you and be like, oh yeah, you gotta get it done by the end of the week. Like, nah, everybody's got life things to do as well. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that this transition for you guys is the easiest thing to do when you have other things going on in your life. So, um, yeah, that's why I decided to do it this way. Any other questions before I move forward? Yeah, all homework will be posted online. Uh, when I get to it, when I get to it, I can show you the hardest question in the chapter. I'm not quite there at that section yet. There's some good practical things you'll certainly learn from this class, though. I could talk about predatory behavior using interest rates. Um, I could talk about that. Kind of like legal loan sharking. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here at our shape. All right, so we have a, just depends how you manipulate it. That's all. Remember, one thing about math that's very important is that math is a manipulative subject, so you have to be very aware about how you come up with your numbers and the process of how those numbers are presented to you. So that's one thing about math and numbers in general that can be, you have to look at the devil's always in the details when it comes to mathematics. I'll get more into that a little later, I'm pretty sure. Um, all right. So here we have a rectangular frisbee golf thing. All right. So looking at this application problem here in example 8. All right. What would we do here if we're just trying to find the perimeter of the fencing of this frisbee golf place? What should we do? Okay, let's add them all up. So we're going to take, that is correct, right? So we're going to add up all the outside lengths. So we're going to take 385, absolutely spot on. We're going to take 385 plus 1516 plus another 385 plus another 1516. Okay? Even if this wasn't rectangular, I would still add up all the sides if they were all different numbers. It doesn't matter. Okay, for a rectangle, it's pretty straightforward, but like I said, it's for any shape. So any outside, you add up the lengths and you should be good to go. Okay, so if we added up these numbers here, okay, what would we get here for our result? How many feet of fencing will we need for the frisbee golf place? I'll go back to, let's see, here we go. Okay. Just don't forget to line that stuff up, okay? Remember to line up every one. So I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty aware of that. So to line up all your digits properly, all right? All right, so our answer here is going to be correct. Feet matter, there you go. All right, so 3,802 feet is correct, okay? So absolutely spot on here. That is definitely correct. All right. Now, again, remember to line up. Actually, I should probably put that down as well. All right, so one of the keys here is to remember to line up the digits appropriately. So line up the digits appropriately. Um, so basically 15, 16. Again, 385 should be right here. Again, the 3 should line up with the 5. All right, so that's generally how things will go. I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty aware about that, but again, how things are done, just pretty much line up those digits appropriately with each other. Okay, now if we go down the line here, again, which is correct here, essentially you have 5 plus 6, which is 11, plus 5, which is 16, plus 6, which is 22. So what you actually do here is you actually add a 2 here on the top above the 8. So you had 2 plus 8, which is 10, plus 1, which is 11, plus 8, which is 19, plus 1, which is 20. So that's where you get the 0 from. And then you add another 2 here, and not 3. So you add another 2 here. That 2 is going to go along with this 3. So this 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 plus 5 is 18. And then we put a 1 here for the 1. So 1, 1 plus 1, 2, plus 1, 3. Okay, so 3802 is correct. So 3,802 feet. Spot on. Very nice. All right. Good beans. Okay. Are there any questions? Are there any questions about that? Oh my gosh. All right, fine. No, no, no. All right. Okay. Good stuff. Oh boy. Unreal. Okay, I wonder if I should do that. All right. Yeah. let's do that. All right. So hopefully adding is not too bad, okay? So hopefully adding addition is not what you call it, is not terrible. So oh, man, how do I do that? Oh my god. Okay, there we go. All right, I got it. Yeah. Okay. So let me I'll show you guys something a little neat here. Okay, so before we go, we got like 5 minutes to go. But you're like saying, well, is math really helpful for me? Okay, where is math like super duper helpful? All right, so that's kind of like where is math helpful? So if we talk about math and how it's helpful, math is helpful in saying, all right, how can we make, say, money? All right, so let's say we want to make money. All right, that's what we want to do. So let's say I want to make money and I can make money by doing math. Well, that's exactly what I've kind of done here. This is my so what I do on the side is I do a little bit of a side hustle here, to be perfectly honest, and my side hustle here is trading options. All right, so that's my side hustle here. So with my side hustle here by trading options, I'll show you a brief glimpse of my account here. It's not the craziest thing in the whole wide world, but here it is. It's a thing. All right. So here's how math has begun to be beneficial for me. Is I figured out how to, trade a little effectively here with uh, with with using mathematics. And as you can see here, um, I made quite a quite a good sum of money things. I know it's a little hard to see on the screen here. Let's see if I can make it bigger. There we go. Maybe that's a bit easier to see now instead of just smaller numbers. So you can see here that I've made like for the year, I made like let's see, $48,000 or something, something. Yeah. Good job. So uh, that's kind of like how I use math to kind of help supplement my income and whatnot. Um, in order to, in order to get by, obviously the current days and everything like that. So yeah, that's a way you can actually make some money, is by speculating on the stock market and whatnot. And the nice part about the stock market is, with options, that you can actually make money going up and going down. So you can make money going both ways. Learning how to trade options as well. Uh, okay, if I have any tips for you here, this is the first tip. If you're going to make any money in this market, you need to get level 3 options trading. This allows you to borrow money. So one of the things is that there's a lot of strategies for options trading, but the one thing, in order to make a consistent income, you need to be able to borrow money in order to make money. That's the way it's going to basically work. So for example here, let me give you a good example. I have this trade for Tesla, okay? And I can't afford Tesla by itself. Tesla's like $2,200 per stock. That's crazy. Okay, so in order for me to say, all right, instead of just buying a share of Tesla, which is not going to amount to much, all right, I make a speculative guess and I say, all right, I think that the stock of Tesla is going to be above 2250. That's my guess. All right, but in order for me to make that guess, I need to be able to borrow money. So this -4 allows me to borrow money. And then basically at the end of the day, if I guess correctly, I get to keep that quote unquote premium against that if I guess correctly. Or I can trade it off beforehand and I can still collect that premium that's left over, that amount of green cash that I got. So you basically, what's called, you kind of mitigate your risk, i.e. you put in a set amount, you risk a certain amount of money to get a certain amount of profit back. But that's exactly how level 3 options trading will allow you to do that. So there is definitely that. So that's tips. Now one other thing is that credit spreads are the way to be for beginners like me. All right, so just saying. Sure. I mean, like I said, there's applications to it. There's applications to this. Let's not lie to ourselves. You know, credit spreads are the way to be. So you know, if you have a credit spread, meaning to say, hey, I'm going to want to think that the stock is going to be above this price or below this price, okay, then that's a way you can actually speculate, and you can actually say, all right, I want to see if I can make some money if it stays below a certain level or it stays above a certain level. So that's another way you can actually see how things will work out. So let me go ahead, actually, let me try and do this. I'll make a trade with you guys here, okay? So I'll go to SPX, all right? So I'll go to SPX, and I'll say, you know what? I think that, and you can make a contract option. It has a expiration date for any of these contracts. So I say, you know what? I think that tomorrow, and this is pretty risky, but I'm not going to use a lot of money here. So I'm going to use what's called a short put vertical, and I say, all right, cool. So I hit go and I say, all right, you know what? I think that based on what I see today, I think that um, I think that the SPX here is going to stay above 3,500. All right, now as you see down here, I can make a max profit of say $200 at a risk of $300. So then I'll just go ahead and give it a go. Sorry for the uh, artifacting there. Apologies. And I'll just go ahead and send it off. And I made a trade. So for one contract. So I said, all right, um, you know, if I'm correct and it stays above 3,500 tomorrow, then I'll make $200 and I should be good to go. So and that's the way you can sit on your butt for a few hours and make a little money on the side. Like, you don't even have to do anything. You just sit on your ass and it happens. Magic things. Any other questions? Ola, if you have any more questions, my dude, you can certainly ask me. I don't have a problem answering questions about that. It took me a while to kind of get used to that. How do you cash it out? Well, it's not like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually really hard to cash out. But uh, so to cash out, all you got to do is withdraw it from your account. That's all. So that's all you got to do. Withdraw it from your account. There's if you go to whatever trading platform you're using, you just withdraw it to your bank account that you have linked. Until the entire housing market collapses again, brah, that's like London. Okay, that's just waiting to happen. This housing market, I don't know, will collapse just yet because inflation and the employment market are still starting to ramp up a little bit. So we'll see exactly how things go. But yeah, even in this class, hopefully you get to learn a little bit of something where math is definitely useful. I gotta teach another class, my dude. That's how it grows. Business first and then pleasure. Do I think the lack of regulations in the U.S. caused bubbles? Um, I don't think it's necessarily the lack of regulation. Silicon Valley is a bubble of some sort, but it's like if you melt up instead of melting down. I think that there's some stocks that are overvalued, but I don't think it's like necessarily a bad thing. I think that investors have a lot of remember how markets work. Markets work based on emotion. If you feel like, oh, the coronavirus is going to be over by next week or a vaccine's going to come out, people are going to be pretty positive on that. And they're going to just follow their heart and they're just going to go invest with whatever. Because that's how people are. That's how investors work. I mean, heck, most companies, use an algorithm, and that algorithm, that mathematical concept is basically entirely based on emotion of what the company wants to do. Also, retail investors have a lot to say about the market as well. So the people on like Robinhood and things like that, those guys are pushing prices up like crazy. You know, so I mean, the money's there. It's just a matter of are you going to enter the market in order to take it? And you got to be on top of things. You got to read that stuff every day. Be on top of the news and whatnot. So do I think the lack of regulations cause bubbles? I think that sometimes it can. I think sometimes it can, but I think that monetary policy has a lot to do with it from the Fed. So, because they're the ones who really, really could move the market. Ah, yes. No, no, of course. Apologies, Yvonne. Apologies. All right, so we're going to end off here for today. Apologies, Yvonne. Thank you very much. Um, so next time we're going to talk about subtraction 1, 3, and 1.4. Okay, so we're gonna skip this 9.1 here. I'm gonna come back to chapter 9 later, but we're gonna do 1, 3, and 1, 4 for next time. So just doing our basic operators. We may do 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5 because those are the other three basic operators, and we'll talk about how to approach those type of problems. Are there any more questions before we head out for the day? Is there homework? Homework is all posted on my math lab, my friend. Yeah, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5 is going to be what we cover next time. You can do the 1, 1, 1, 2 homework if you want to keep pace. All right. Any other questions? All right. Okay, no, hey, no problem. I'm here to help as much as I can. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope all of you have a very wonderful weekend. If you're here for my 11 o'clock class, I will be back in 7 minutes. I'll just stop the stream here, but then I'll come back in like 7 minutes or less, and I'll be starting my 11 o'clock 090 class. So if you want to stick around for that, you can certainly stick around for that. In the meantime, though, for those who can't, have a wonderful weekend. Please stay safe out there and stay healthy. All right. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all later. All right.